Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He need cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we got Wendy on today. And we're going to have State Senator Mary Kunesh on a little later, and then we're going to have Fun Fact Friday for our Sacred Animal portion, Wendy. And I just want to mention, I know you got a cool story you want to bring up from your Uber ride last night, but I want to just bring up a couple things tonight. And again, until the 21st, a Christmas in Ochapi is being played at 825 Arts. And that's 825 University Avenue in St. Paul. It's at 7 p.m. tonight. And then the Sunday performances are at 2. So, and the next few days, Friday and Saturday, are at 7. And please go out there and make that. That's an amazing play. And I won't get too far into it right now, but because I want to give you an opportunity to tell your story. But I just also want to give everyone a shout out that, you know, we're out at Dayton's. And Native Roots Trading Post is out in Dayton's, and of course out at Southdale is your art, Wendy, and that's Pilot's Palette, with your beautiful prints of your paintings of animals across Turtle Island, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And there's all different price points. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you.
Oh, well. You can jump in anytime. You're the expert on your art.
Well, I was going to go there tomorrow and set up an easel and paint, but when I said I was going to do that, I didn't realize it was my birthday. So we're going to celebrate it a different way. And I'm not going to be painting tomorrow. So
No.
Yeah.
But we're going to be going out. Yeah. So go out there. And also we're at cause.cart.com. Check out some of our swag if you're not in the area. And that'll get delivered to you. And I think it's free delivery now until the end of Christmas. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. Cause-cart.com. Yeah.
Nice.
So if you want to get a Resist shirt or any of those kind of cool things that we sell at our store.
Those are very popular these days.
Yeah. No doubt.
No doubt.
Hey, Wendy, so last night you were with some friends and you were out celebrating your birthday, but you took an Uber.
I took a Lyft.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, Lyft. I usually take Lyft. But so what's going on right now, if you don't know, there's ICE agents in downtown Minneapolis now harassing our Somali community. And it's really, really, really too bad that this is happening. It makes me really angry. I literally could feel my blood boiling. And I got my Lyft driver, and she was a lovely Somali woman, and we had a really good conversation from, where I was going. We had a nice 10-minute talk. What she said was, everyone that she knows, all the families and friends that she has here, they're all here legally. What's happening now is that everyone is carrying all their paperwork with them. So she showed me like her passport, she had her license, she had her citizenship papers. I mean, people who are American citizens should not have to do this. She's been in the country for 17 years. She has 4 children. The youngest is 2, the oldest is 15, and she is a Lyft driver, and her and her husband live here peacefully and happily. She told me a story that the day before, her nephew, who's 22 years old, was walking to college, walking to the school, and he got picked up by ICE agents, and they handcuffed him, and he said they shoved him, and he just kept saying to them, please don't hurt me. I'll cooperate, and I have all my paperwork, and I'll do whatever you need me to do. But he said that they were very rough with him, and I have no doubt that that's exactly what happened. And they put him in the car and, went through his paperwork and then eventually they let him go. And he was late for class. And why should anyone have to go through that trauma and harassment? It just makes me so sad and angry.
You're guilty before you're proven innocent.
Well, that's what's happening right now in the United States. And it's really unfortunate. It really is. We had a few people who broke the law, and they had a trial, and they got in trouble and they went to jail. And that's the way our government is set up. And, you get to have a fair trial and present all the information. And then, and only then, are you convicted. But that's not what's happening right now. Anyway, I just wanted to share that story. And I think we should all support our Somali friends and neighbors, and take some Lyft rides and have conversations with people, and you really be able to find out how beautiful the community is.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked in the last couple of days too about Native Americans being harassed too, and showing their tribal IDs, and then the ICE agents are saying that it's fake.
Yeah.
And so it's happening, but they're directly coming after the Somalis here in Minneapolis, and it's a thing against Ilham and Governor Walz, of course, and it's payback. And we were expecting this, but it's
what's
here.
Really disheartening is, like, on the Facebook pages, there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, get them out of the country. They don't belong here. We don't want them. They've ruined Minneapolis. I mean, and these are, like you always say, Robert, these are people who don't even live in the area. Like, they don't even know. They don't live in the cities. They live out in the country somewhere. They've never seen a brown-faced person or had a relationship or a friendship or even a conversation.
Well, it's just the craziness of racism that's just firing everybody up. People saying that Trump is what they voted for, and and I don't think most people are. I think they were worried about the economy that voted for him, and making eggs cheaper, and he's done none of it. And he said he was going to end wars, and he's done none of that. And so they've been bamboozled. And I know it's hard because not everybody, people are working, they're not paying attention like we are, when it comes to listening and reading what's happening. People are raising families, and so I'll give them a pass. But this is I just feel like the minority of people are really the boisterous here on these places, these social media posts and things. It's amazing to see.
It is. Well, in simple terms, a bigot is someone who won't listen, won't learn, and insists on hating or disrespecting others because they're different. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them out there.
That's like a racism. That's a racist too. Is a bigot.
Right.
Bigot's a racist.
Yes. So it's really, and this is learned behavior. You watch children when they're small and they just play with everyone, and everyone's accepted, and the color of your skin or your nationality, your religion, or your beliefs aren't impacted. And we learn that, we're brought up and we're brainwashed into believing things that,
definitely.
It's really
Well, we'll be
hopefully
talking.
ice will go away, and it's been really, really cold in Minneapolis, and I just hope that they're all freezing their butts off. That's all I have to say.
Well, and they're all police flunkies, and you don't hear much about what's happening with the KKK and the Proud Boys, because now they are ICE agents.
And all the January 6th insurrectionists, those have all been hired, and it's pretty sad out there.
Well, we'll talk more with State Senator Mary Kunesh about this and other things. And you're listening to Neighborhoods Radio. And then at the end of the show, Wendy will be talking about Fun Fact Friday with our sacred animals.
Yeah, we have some good news.
All right. Hey, this is Neighborhoods Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please. Oh, go
Stay
ahead.
with us.
Yeah.
Are you a Metro Transit rider? Join the free Riders Club and let your voice be heard. Our motto is Transit Voices United, and when you become a member, you'll participate more closely in decision-making, plus earn the opportunity for exclusive merchandise at Metro Transit events. Help improve your transit system. We value your opinion. Join at metrotransit.org/Riders Club and start being rewarded today. That's the Riders Club at metrotransit.org/Riders Club.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis Police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Discover Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer, now in view at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This evocative exhibition features paintings, poetry, and installations that explore memory and cultural preservation. Don't miss the Artist Talk with Michaela Schaefer on Saturday, November 15th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. at the Gallery. Matrilineal Memory is open through December 13th. Experience art that transforms memory into connections and healing. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Hey, we are here with our friend State Senator Mary Kunesh. And State Senator, we've missed you and missed your input, and but I know it's the holiday season, but I also know that you are busier than heck. And so really, thank you so much for spending some time with us and our listeners who really look forward to your weekly report. Thanks again for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. And I have missed not being on this show with all of you as well. Yeah, it's just been kind of a busy couple of weeks, and happy to be back here with you.
Well, I kind of want to start the show off in a good way. Well, I guess a couple segments I want to crescendo into some positiveness, but I think we kind of have to really talk about what's been happening federally to our relatives, our MMIWR relatives. And I know you've been posting some things on social media. Let's talk about this. This is like unbelievable, and again, no sense in whatsoever about this.
Yeah. Well, if you remember, here in Minnesota, we have been leading in the creation and looking at this whole missing and murdered Indigenous relatives realm. Back in 2019, I was able to pass legislation that created the first ever Minnesota missing and murdered Indigenous women's task force. We did that along with so many of the agencies in the state, along with a lot of the nonprofits that are doing the work, protecting our women and our communities from violence. And so, of course, we created that task force and was able to, in spite of COVID, put together a pretty constructed report with a dozen at least recommendations to address the historic trauma and violence against our Native community. And one of the top one was to create that permanent office of missing and murdered Indigenous relatives, which we did, and is doing the good work. But I think, and that helped, I think, nationally raise the awareness of what you can do at the state level around this, because I was inspired from Canada's preliminary report on their missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. And it was like, wow, Canada is doing this work. Why isn't the USA, the national level doing this? Well, it's a lot of work, and there's so many different aspects to it that we didn't understand. Like, I didn't understand the complexities that was just Minnesota. And so through this report and through the process, we were able to ferret out a lot of really good information. But what we really came upon was that we don't have the data that we need. When people say, where is this happening? How is this happening? How is, how many women, how many children, how many men, adults, two-spirit folks are we talking about? We didn't have the data. Nobody was collecting the data. So I think, I really feel like the work that we did here in Minnesota was inspiration to a lot of other states, because when I would go and talk about it, like through, right now I'm the chair of American Indian legislators across the nation, and we talk about the legislation we're working on and what worked, what didn't work. And I talk about this, and they're like, wow, that is incredible. Can we look at your legislation? Can we see what your task force was like? And I always said, yes, please do. Take my legislation and tweak it to your state. Look at our report and see what's the same and different in your state. And please, if every one of the states did that and used and I'm not just saying ours is like the best, most perfect thing, but if you use that as your blueprint, and start working on it, then, if every state did this, we'd have a national task force basically in going on without relying on the national level. Well, lucky for us, Deb Haaland was elected to the Department of the Interior, and through her advocacy, she was able to start working on this at the national level. And they put together a report, not one more, that had the results and the discussion from national input. And that, of course, was posted on the website. People could go there, read about it, understand it better, perhaps develop their own policy procedures around what was happening. Most importantly, educating, because so many people, including, Indian country, don't understand the complexities of this. And so there it was on the website. And in February, the Trump administration removed the link to that report. So it wasn't like this just happened yesterday, but more and more people are becoming aware of it. And when, I think they said that it was a DEI focused report or program. And, we know that Trump is trying to undo anything and everything that has anything that's specific to minorities, folks of color, unique groups of people, including women. And so there we are. It's been removed. And so there are a lot of organizations out there, like the National Indian Women's Resource Consortium, have that on their website. I mean, it still can be found. You have to work a little bit to find it. I know I had to. It's like, well, I did not save that report anywhere. Where is it? How can I get it? And so I ended up going to the National Indian Women's Resource Center, NIWRC.org, and they still have the report on their website. And so it's just a really sad, horrifying thing. I mean, everybody is confused and complex. Like, why would we not continue to have that available? And I've gotten a lot of feedback on the dismay that isn't available as readily as it was before. And so I try to get that out there as much as I can.
Yeah, it's amazing too. And just the 35% of the nation here that is so racist, that's okay with these things. It's okay with these ICE raids that are happening.
Oh
And
my gosh.
it's just so toxic to read these things on social media, and then you look and these people aren't even from Minnesota, and it's just like wrangling up all the racists when it comes to protecting our relatives and our, and it's just amazing because we have Native Americans that are being pulled over and saying that their tribal IDs aren't real.
I know, questioning all of that. And you almost wonder if down the road they're going to say that isn't a valid form of ID or, and we are a very mixed country. Right. When we look at, we have Native Americans that are Mexican or Latino or, African American, Asian, right now our Somali population here in Minnesota is under terrible attack by Trump. I mean, calling them garbage and that they are not productive members of our community. And then folks that don't even know jumping on that bandwagon. It's absolutely horrifying. And, it's sort of reminiscent of what Hitler did, leading up to the Holocaust, is identifying races of people, groups of people who are less than. And we saw what happened there and the terror and the violence that came to the Jews and to the gypsies, to people with disabilities, to, the gay community. All of these things are nothing but hateful. And when you start to remove information on people, it's just as bad as when you put out those kind of statements or you put out misinformation, because if you don't have the information to counteract, you just feel defenseless. Yeah. And so none of this coming out of the federal government is any good at all.
No, and it isn't. And I appreciate you talking about it. And we try to talk about it as much as we can here in Native Roots Radio because, not everybody is like plugged in to, I'm listening to and reading, and part of my job on Native Roots Radio is to kind of stay, updated. But we have our relatives that are working, sometimes 2 jobs, have kids. And so I appreciate you talking about this because this is not an easy thing that's happening to us. But as Native Americans, the Nazis took from the United States how they treated us, and now it's come full circle.
Yeah, I mean, Hitler took the playbook from the U.S. government on how to eradicate or minimize a population, putting us on reservations, keeping us on reservations, and not giving us the resources we needed.
Exactly. Well, hey, we are here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're going to take a quick break. This is Native Roots Radio, and like I said, we'll be right back. Ho!
Are you a Metro Transit rider? Join the free Riders Club and let your voice be heard. Our motto is Transit Voices United, and when you become a member, you'll participate more closely in decision-making, plus earn the opportunity for exclusive merchandise at Metro Transit events. Help improve your transit system. We value your opinion. Join at metrotransit.org/Riders Club and start being rewarded today. That's the Riders Club at metrotransit.org/Riders Club.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Discover Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer, now in view at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This evocative exhibition features paintings, poetry, and installations that explore memory and cultural preservation. Don't miss the Artist Talk with Michaela Schaefer on Saturday, November 15th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. at the Gallery. Matrilineal Memory is open through December 13th. Experience art that transforms memory into connections and healing. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
Hey Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota Private Colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are with our friend, State Senator Mary Kunesh from the great state of Minnesota. Well, you know, what I always like talking with you, State Senator, because you always take the high road on things. And so I think maybe what we need to do is switch gears a little bit and talk about the great work that you're doing and what's coming up this week and what you have been doing. So again, welcome back, and thanks for talking to our listeners as you do.
It just feels like one week runs into the next. It's like, what am I doing? I'm just so busy. I can sometimes forget. I don't know if I have chatted with you since I was in Santa Fe. We had the conference, the National Conference of American Indian State Legislators.
And so did talk a little bit about that, but that's great to bring up again because that was exciting.
Yeah, it was just a really great gathering of Indigenous leaders from across the country. And I'm really thankful that they chose me to be the chair of that again for another term as we work to kind of work across the nation on the issues that are most important in Indian country. So I was out in Santa Fe for that. And then next week I head to Chicago for Council of State Legislators. That's like all the legislators from around the country come to this one. So I'll be there for a few days. And I'm also on their executive board. So I'll be sitting in on a lot of meetings and that sort of thing. Just came from a really great, lovely luncheon with the Chamber of Commerce, Women in Business, and sat with some really incredibly bright women, business women who are doing incredible work. And we had a keynote speaker, can't remember her name, but she and her family have a spring business, springs that you use for garage doors and beds and all kinds of stuff. Wow. Fascinating how they developed their business. And so those are the sort of things that I really love going to and learning and connecting with folks. Yesterday, I was down in Lower Sioux talking to the MIAC board, the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council board, and listening to some of the issues that are sort of cropping up across the state that we're trying to address. There's two bills that I have been working on, and I'm going to continue working on this next session. One is a foster kids bill of rights. You wouldn't think that we would need something so thorough, but I guess California has an incredible brochure packet. It's almost like a workbook that they give to these kids, and in it outlines their rights as a foster kid, the sibling rights, to be able to see their siblings, to meet with their siblings, to keep those strong connections. And so we're looking to do something like that here in Minnesota. Of course, working on the rights of wild rice is another really big, important one. I know our DNR, Department of Natural Resources, is looking to put some restrictions on how much a person can go out and harvest from state parks and that sort of thing. If you're a forager, they would like to put some limitations. But we had a really good discussion about how so much of the lands, the reservation lands that we have here in Minnesota, is not conducive to our medicines that grow, tobacco, sage, all of those things. And so many of our Indigenous folks will go into state parks or other areas where that grows and harvest those things. And we have other ethnicities that love to harvest like fiddleheads and mushrooms and other edible natural resources. So there's been a task force to look at foraging regulations. And then another one that was really a long discussion was around NAGPRA and the burial sites that we are starting to not only reclaim, but then rebury our ancestors. And, our state is not 100% built out. And so when developers go out into areas and pipelines are wanting to be laid and kind of disturbance to the lands, there really needs to be a deep dive into what actually is on those lands. And we've seen developers that have just plowed through burial mounds or built around burial mounds. There are places where we have like a good sized burial mound area, and then all around it are homes that have been built. And some might argue that keeps them kind of safe. But then we've also heard about dogs or other domestic animals that burrow into that. They sense that there's bones or something there and will disturb it. So we had a really, really interesting conversation about how it is so important that we take the time and use our resources that we have set up to investigate those lands before they are disturbed. And so, it was just a really fascinating day of all things Indian in Indian country in Minnesota. And I learned so much from so many people doing that.
Well, you're talking about the mounds. Prairie Island's doing such a great job down there. And I was down there as a Met Council person on the Native Advisory Committee for the Met Council here. And they're doing such great work down there. It's just amazing. We were able to, they reclaimed some land about 13 minutes from their casino. And there were 100 mounds out there. And there were a few that were dug up too, that they're going to have the bodies come back. So it's a thing, and it's been going on a long time. And I know Mounds Park used to have 100 mounds, and now there's just those 3.
Yeah.
So our ancestors are buried there all through there, and we and it's good to talk about because that's something that's very real and very somewhat new to us here, especially with, like you said, haven't been people are still building and building around these areas.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way that we have cemeteries now, or in the Western world, is to set aside a piece of land, usually by a church, and all the sites are organized and they have headstones, so you know and you see that these are sacred sites, that this is sacred land. No developer is just going to come through and plow that up. Right. I mean, and then there are very strict laws against that, against disturbing burial sites in cemeteries. And just because this is not, doesn't have a big fence around it and identified as a sacred burial site and being next to a church of whatever, doesn't mean it's just as sacred and should be just as protected as any of these other cemeteries that we have. Not everybody feels that way and sees it as a hassle and just one more thing that they have to go through. But it's really important. And we talked about, repatriating items that state universities and museums are holding that belong, justifiably should go back to the tribe. Those are relics that were found when some of these mounds were disturbed. Mm-hmm. And we'd like to see that returned to the rightful owners.
Right. Whether it's the family or the nation, for sure. Yep. It's amazing too. A lot of the museums and people have been working on that for a long time. I know there's the Smithsonian in New York a year ago or so had to return a lot of their stuff, and I thought, wow, that's right on to the Eastern tribes. So it's still happening, and there's still things out there. I know a few years ago, a friend of mine's father passed away, who owned an antique store, and in the basement there was a lot of native stuff and a lot of scalps and things like that, and he didn't know what to do with them. And so again, that's a real thing that we're talking about. It's not a dinosaur kind of we're not dinosaurs, we're still here.
It's really, that's absolutely true. And the fact that these things are kind of stuck away in a box or a drawer, and it's great that they are preserved in the way that they are, but that doesn't mean that the tribes aren't going to care for them just as well as anybody else. I saw how Shakopee has their preservation area out on the reservation or on their lands. It's phenomenal. I mean, it is just phenomenal. And to walk through there, you just, you kind of get goosebumps because, these were made by the hands of our ancestors. These are, beaded, sewn items that were so important to somebody's family member or leader. And they tell a story. And when they're stuck away in a box or in a closet, it's like keeping that spirit of that item, encased, where it would be really lovely if it was deemed that was shareable and we could learn so much more from it.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's a thing, and I'm glad we're talking about it, but it's a thing that needs to be brought up constantly.
Yeah.
Hey, State Senator, we only got a few more minutes. Any last plug or anything that you're doing this week that you'd like people to show up to?
Well, we did get, and I hate to end on a downer, but we did get the Minnesota forecast, the budget forecast today. We were keeping our fingers crossed that there would be a surplus, as modest as possible. But it looks like that the forecast is looking like there might be a bit of a deficit, which means this next session, just as we did last year. We are going to have to be really good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and those dollars that we do have to use, making sure that they are spent in the most important ways, the most urgent ways. As the federal government says they're not going to send SNAP dollars, we're going to have to make up that difference. And that's just one example of what we're going to have to do this next session.
A big Pinagigi, thank you so much, State Senator Mary Kunesh, for stopping in and speaking your truth. We always appreciate you and that you come on.
Wopilatanka.
We'll see you next week. Hey, Native Roots Radio will be right back after this short break. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinagigi, and thank you for your support.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis Police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota private colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and this is Native Roots Radio.
In this portion of the show, we like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations. Say no to the hunts. Oh, no.
Yeah. Ooh. A Picnic of Baskets by Yogi. Hey, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, reintroduce, and Wendy's been an animal advocate for many years, and she has been doing her sacred portion of the animals. This is going on almost 10 years now.
Oh my gosh.
I was a young man when we started this show.
Too.
You're a young man?
Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji. That means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I am a policy volunteer for Humane World for Animals, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. And it's always my pleasure to do that. I have some good news today. So Humane World for Animals and other important animal advocacy groups have been working really hard, and finally something has passed. Yeah, good news. New York Fashion Week has officially gone fur-free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is a major win for animals everywhere by choosing innovation and compassion over cruelty. One of the world's most influential fashion events is showing that style and kindness can go hand in hand. So, Humane World for Animals wants to thank everyone who raised their voices with us, supported humane fashion, and helped us push the industry towards more ethical future. Your commitment is changing what is possible. And here's to progress and building a future where animals are never exploited for fashion. The policy will start in New York Fashion Week in September 2026. So,
wow, that's good
yeah,
news.
it's really huge. It really is. So we're really excited about that. And yeah, a lot of big fashion. I'm not into the big fashion, Vogue and Chanel and Gucci. I'm not into any of that. Names don't mean anything to me, but they do to a lot of people. So, it's really important, and a lot of them are going for free. So I'm really happy about that. Another thing we have here is every year, Humane World for Animals comes out with a scorecard. So it's a scorecard that has your Senate your Senate legislators and your House representatives and what they voted on. Mm-hmm. So did they vote good or bad as far as animals legislation that we brought forth, right? So we brought a lot of good policies that we wanted passed. Mm-hmm. And I'm just finding Minnesota. So one person who does always very, very well, we're really happy, is Tina Smith. So cool. Tina Smith did great. And her score, if you want to guess, Robert, what do you think her score is? And it's like,
is it out of 100?
It is out of 100. Yeah.
Well, you've been bringing this up over the years, so I'd say 95.
Okay, she's at 100%.
Wow.
Yes. So Tina Smith has been fantastic, and she supports our humane legislation that we bring forth to her. Amy Klobuchar, what would you guess her score would be if you had to guess?
60.
Less.
Wow.
Yeah, 50%.
And that's what's going to happen too if what's her name takes over. Not Peggy Flanagan, but the other one. What's her name? That's going against Peggy.
I don't know.
She's just like Amy Klobuchar. She's in the middle of the road voting against stuff that us progressives are.
Sure. I know. So anyway, if you go online and you just Google Humane World for Animals scorecard, you could go on and look up your your people. You could see how they voted for animals. And here's one, Betty McCollum. Betty McCollum, that's our House representative, right? She's awesome also. She got a score of 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ilhan Omar, 86%. So really good. So thank you, Ilhan. Appreciate that. I'm going to be making phone calls and thanking our people who did really well and ask them to continue to do well. And I'm also going to call the ones who really didn't score very well and ask them if they can do better. We'd appreciate that. So making phone calls also help, because you know what? It's really important what the constituents really have to talk about and what they feel is important. So the more you call them and leave them messages about what's important to you, the more they'll care about what is important to you. So this morning, I really, really wanted to sleep in. I wanted to sleep in because I was out with friends last night. And anyway, I wanted to sleep in. But anyway, Robert got up this morning and left the house because he had to take care of our car, which got smashed the other day. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But anyway.
Different show.
So I'm laying in bed and I'm hearing. We don't have a cat. Let me just say that.
We used to have three of them.
We used to have 3 cats. This is our first time since
forever.
For 24 years that we have not had a cat. Anyway, we have our dog Wanda, and everybody knows about her. But anyway, I'm laying in bed, and we have this neighborhood cat who his name is Goliath, and he shows up at our door and comes in our house and visits us, and he's like a really cool, fun cat. But anyway, I was laying in bed, really wanting to sleep in, and I'm just hearing this cat meow and meow and meow, and he was really meowing, really long, loud meow. So I was like, oh my God. So I had to get up out of bed to let the cat who doesn't live here out because he wanted to go out. And this cat is wild. He ran across the street after a squirrel, which I'm really, I thank God. I think he's just trying to play, and the squirrel was really fast. But he climbed up half the pole, the light pole outside.
Well, you have that hut out there.
And I was yelling at him from the house, Goliath, get down.
Well, you have that hut out there too, and he came busting out of there.
Yeah.
Because it's heated.
It's
Again,
a
it's
heated hut. Yeah. And
for possums and raccoons and cats.
And yesterday I went and I put food in the hut. Because I want to attract animals to go in so that they see it and they know that it's warm and that it's a place for them to stay. What was that noise you're making there, Robert?
It was a Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I threw some food in there yesterday, some seeds, and a black cat ran out. So there was a black cat in there, and I felt bad for startling him because it was really cold yesterday.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is where Goliath was. So he was inside the warm hut, and then Robert goes out to open the door to throw seeds or
leave. I was leaving.
You were leaving the house, and he ran from inside the hut into our house. So he must have been cold. But again, I mean, he has a tracking device, and his owner knows where he is. Apparently, he was a outdoor cat for a really long time, and this woman adopted him or ended up with him somehow. I don't know how. And she said, I'm not really crazy that this cat goes out. If it was my choice, he would be an indoor cat. But I mean, I could imagine living with him and him wanting to go out. I mean,
you went through that with Clyde years ago.
My cat Clyde, he was an indoor-outdoor cat, and he would just come home with fights and scratches and fur pulled out. And my stepfather ran him over in the driveway with the car, and we brought him to the vet. And then after that, I just said, that's it. He's going to be an indoor cat. And I'm telling you, for 6 months, that cat put us through hell. It really put us through hell. I mean, he ripped through screens to get out. He cried throughout all the night. It was like horrible. But finally, he acquiesced and said, okay, I'm going to be an indoor cat. And he ended up being an indoor cat, and he ended up being fine. But it was pure hell that we had to go through to get him to be that way.
Wow. Good story.
Yeah.
Good stories. Hey, you guys, winter in Ochapi, Christmas in Ochapi tonight and all week.
We'll be there tonight.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to us. And if you're listening to this show, you are part of the resistance. We're still here. We are the seventh generation. Free Leonard Peltier. Thank God he's already been freed.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow, or we'll see you next week.